Talkin with Topher is sponsored by slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com, New Hampshire Vape Gallery, and naturalbossnh.com. More on that later. Let's get into episode 133.
At it again.
What is happening, TWT fans? It is so good to be back on this October 20th, 2022. And how are all of you? I hope everybody out there is doing well. I hope you're being safe and being kind to one another. You got to be kind to one another today, I'm telling you. But before I get into anything today, because I got an amazing podcast for everybody out there, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome. I am so pumped to have you all here. You're what keeps me coming back week after week. Give a thumbs up for the video and share, rate, review the podcast. That all helps push it out into the algorithm, all right? And I need your help to be doing that. If you're new to the podcast, remember to subscribe, all right? It's the one thing I'm asking everybody to do. That is the number one thing that helps the podcast and keeps me coming back week after week. Of course, give a thumbs up, share, rate, review, and leave comments. That's right, comments for me, comments for the guests. That also helps the podcast grow, and it guarantees more guests coming onto the podcast if they know that you're enjoying it. More people want to come on and do it. All right, I appreciate all of that. Now, of course, if you want to get more involved with the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. That's talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Go ahead and send your email out, whether it's video, audio, or typed out. That's going to give you a chance to get on the podcast or get your story out there or ask for advice, but you can only do it through the email. That's official email of the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. That's talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. So go ahead and send those on out, all right? I'll be looking for them. And if you want to follow me, I'm on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, and Facebook. So go give a follow. I always appreciate it. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, I got a special announcement. That's right. On UFC Fight Pass, Combat FC, the main event is going to be Rick Genghis Khan versus, I'm going to butcher this, JZ Cavalcante. I hope I got that right. If I didn't, I do apologize. But that is Friday, October 21st on UFC Fight Pass. So if you've already got it, you'll be able to watch it. If you don't got it, find a friend, go watch it. If you want to know more about Rick Khan, he is part of Professional Martial Arts Academy in Plastow, New Hampshire. He has his own school. He is an Olympian in judo, just an amazing person. You can also go to episode 92 of Talkin with Topher. That's right. Rick Khan was in Topher Studios in January of this year. He was my very first guest, and I always appreciate that. I appreciate him, and I'm just super pumped for his fight on the UFC Fight Pass this October 21st. So go watch, check it out, check out the podcast with him. Amazing, amazing person, and that's the breaking news, everybody. Go get your UFC Fight Pass to see Rick Genghis Khan take on JZ Cavalcante. All right, check it out. And now with all that out of the way, I have an amazing conversation with one of, the most important people in my life. Funny how it all revolves around jiu-jitsu. So learning good discipline on the mat has helped me tremendously with the discipline in my life. That I believe that all goes hand in hand. I highly recommend martial arts to anybody. But the person that I'm having on today is my professor. He's also somebody I consider a very good close friend, somebody I can confide in. And he has helped me through my jiu-jitsu journey for the last 7 years of my life. So instead of me rambling on and on and on and on, let's get into today's episode. Talking with Tim Barchard. It is an absolute honor to have you here in Topher Studio. I'm so excited about having you in the studio and on the podcast. Do you have anything that you would like to plug or promote?
No, I'd like to plug and promote you. This is really cool. I'm really excited, and you do a lot of cool things, and your energy's awesome. So I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. That's so great. I just getting you in here, I've already said is an honor, but it's an honor because I've spent the last 7 years of my life at your school, Professional Martial Arts Academy. And I have to say, not only have you taught me a lot about self-discipline, defense, and of course, jiu-jitsu in general, but you have treated me like a family member. And I feel like that's so important today, with schools and making it more of a family-oriented type of situation instead of just feeling like you're at a school with a curriculum and getting stuff done. And so that has just been one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. It's been a complete game changer all around for me. But before I get into anything that I'm going to ramble on about, what started your martial arts journey?
Back 15 years old. I was my buddy Keith McDojo. He was did karate. Jiu-jitsu wasn't around back in the 80s in the United States, and he was into karate, and we always, growing up, we fought a lot. Growing up, we fought a lot, and he's like, you got to try this, and I was really into lifting and stuff, and so I tried it, and it was I had a blast doing it. So I was doing it off and on, and but I was still really into the weightlifting. And then when I hurt my shoulder. I was a mechanic before. I opened the school, and I hurt my shoulder pulling a transmission out of a Jeep, and so I it was hard to lift as much as I did before. And so then I went and focused on karate. So I 85 was my first lesson in karate. 87 I really started pushing it, and so that's really what got you started. Yeah. So when you got into martial arts because of the shoulder tear, so were you trying to become a mechanic? Was that like your focus at that time before you really got into martial arts? I was a mechanic. Yeah, no,
you were a mechanic.
That was my
okay. I apologize.
That was my full-time job. I was working in a Ford dealership. Yep. My father used to run Ford dealerships, and growing up, and I started washing cars at the Ford dealership, and then working on cars, and my brother-in-law started teaching me, and some older mechanics started teaching me. So I became a line tech and working on the line as a mechanic. And
that is absolutely amazing.
So when I was doing karate, I was a mechanic, and then eventually I started teaching karate part-time at night, helping my instructor out. He was big in tournaments, so I would help him out, run his school. We was at a tournament if I wasn't doing the tournament myself. And then eventually what happened in 1994, I had a really bad experience. They fired our service manager and put a new guy in, and he was 180 degree different.
Oh, okay.
So he was the guy that, well, do what I say.
Yeah.
Do what I say. And which is fine, but why am I doing that when we always did this? And it works fine. And eventually I was like, you know what, this isn't for me. I can't see myself long term.
Yeah.
And on a whim, my instructor was like, well, open a karate school. I'm like, cool. So in 94, I opened my karate, April 6th, 1994, opened the school in Derry, and the rest is history.
So Professional Martial Arts Academy was the karate school?
Yes. So I was under a different name.
You were? What was it?
It was ToKyoJo Studios.
Oh, okay. I did see something about that, and I wasn't sure what that was. Okay, so it was ToKyoJo's
Studios of Self-Defense. Yep. Oh. And then eventually what happened is I kind of had, as you go along and you have your own ideas and your own thoughts, and I really wanted to I don't want to say any bad about. You'll never hear me say bad about anything, anybody or anything. But their beliefs were a little different than mine.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, we have to go. We have to, do our own thing. And then my team was like, you know what, we got to go. This is what we want to accomplish. So, we kind of went off on our own and still held the relationships, and so I think in 2003, I became professional martial arts academy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yep.
So the transition from were you still doing any jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai when it was before it was PMA, or did that all start after PMA?
Muay Thai. We were doing Muay Thai. And so jiu-jitsu was really, we were doing jiu-jitsu, but it was really hard in our area. If you came up and it was very hard, there was only really one black belt, Herberto Maia from Boston Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, down in Watertown at the time. And he was the only black belt around. It really wasn't that popular. So what you would do is you do a seminar here and there and come back and practice it. You'd find the judo guys that, focused on the groundwork, and you'd train with them to learn the ground game and stuff like that. So it took a while to really catch on. So we were white belts for, I don't even know, 6 years, 7 years, before we started. Yeah. Yeah.
That is so
Walking
crazy.
Yep. And then,
so yeah, go on.
Yeah. And then what happened was I started training under Keith and Kenny Florian, mostly
Okay.
Keith Florian. Everybody knows Kenny from the UFC.
Okay. I'm drawing a blank. I'm really bad with names.
That's okay. So he's from, they're from Boston. So Keith Florian, I started training with him, and I got up through, my purple belt with him. And eventually that time we were training with Rafael.
Oh, okay.
Who he came over, I think in 2003.
Oh, wow.
Or 2004. I forget the exact. From Brazil, he moved and he was teaching at Henzo's. And then we started training with him, and we would go see him for like 4 days. And then the next month he would fly him out for 4 or 5 days. And that's how we did our training. And then Keith eventually said that he's like, you should go train with Rafael full time. You'll get, which I really, for Keith to say that, like, oh, you should go training with him. That's the right thing to do. I thought it was big for him to say, to guide me in such a
right
straight way.
Instead of being like, you have to stay with me, and this is the only, he's like, branch out, do this, work with him.
But he was like, he was like, go full time with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said it's time. So, yep.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And is that like where the partnership started with Rafael?
Yeah, yep. That's where the friendship. It was more, because what happened is Henzo was like, Rafael, you take care of the New Hampshire boys.
Gotcha.
Because he was in New York, and then it just blossomed from there.
So did Rafael already have his school in Florida?
No.
Oh, so that's later too.
So that's when he moved from Brazil the first time to the United States.
Okay.
He was running Henzo's school. In New York, the famous Henzo Gracie Academy.
Okay.
It had it was struggling, it was struggling student wise, but Rafael, is a workhorse, and he worked it, and they were up over 1,000 students.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And then he actually, Rafael, wound up moving to Singapore, and Evolve MMA in Singapore. It's a huge. You've probably heard of One Fighting and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, Chatri, owns that, had Rafael running the jiu-jitsu program at Singapore, and they have huge schools over in Singapore. And then he stopped that, moved back to Brazil for a while, and then moved to Florida and opened. I'm not sure when. Probably, I don't know, maybe 5. No more than that. Maybe 10 years. I don't know time wise.
Wow. Yeah. So when he opens up the school in Florida, is that a BJJ Start, or is that a PMA as well?
No, that's Start. That was his. So What Start is he was obviously the name behind Start.
Oh, okay.
He's the head guy. Him and I opened it together. So technically I'm co-founder of Start BJJ. I feel like, it was more of him being gratitude, because I helped him with the school and stuff like that, helped him with business and stuff like that. More of gratitude, like, hey, Tim, let's do this together, where he could have done it on his own, very, very easily, and I would have just followed along with him, Right. And, but yeah, no.
So that's where that partnership between PMA and then Start BJJ collabed.
Yeah.
And was that also like, I remember, and you don't have to talk about it if it's a sore spot. I understand. But when I started, we still had a Gracie Tiger. There was a patch on the mats. Well, what caused that to dissolve? If you can talk about it.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'll never talk bad about anybody, and I'll never, you know. But what happens is through the years, you know, like anything else, relationships sour. People always feel like, oh, it's easy, or I want this, or I want that, and you know, unfortunately, who the person at that time just, you know, wasn't the type of person I wanted to be around.
Okay.
And he went off and kind of did his own thing. You know, I had actually, because we were at Henzo Gracie school, you know, but then, you know, he did his own thing and things kind of fell apart, and, you know, there was like this and that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be part of that at all.
Yeah.
I don't want it. And that's when Rafael, you know, was like, you know, doing the start thing. And I'm like, you know what?
Oh.
Yeah, you know, I'm with you. And he was my main instructor anyways. You know, Master Henzo's a great, amazing person. But, you know, I probably really trained with him. You know, I've only rolled with them twice in my life.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, I've taken classes and seminars with them and stuff like that. But Rafael was the guy that, you know, I would sit there and, you know, spill my guts to, and, you know, oh my God, I'm horrible. This is happening and that's happening. So he was the guy. So, you know, I would follow him anyway.
Is that as you're coming up in the ranks and stuff, you're thinking those things about yourself?
Everybody, you know, everybody goes through the things where, you know, they question it. They like, oh my God, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yes.
You know,
yeah, 100%.
There was going through too. I remember Rafael one time told me you know, I was a brown belt, and, you know, I'm a pretty aggressive person. Especially when I was younger. Yeah, I'm getting older, I'm mellow out. But, you know, ask anybody that's been around me for a long time, you know, ask the amigos what I was like. You know, I was pretty intense. And, you know, I was a brown belt. I was feeling good. And I remember Rafael telling me one time, he's like, Tim, you know, you should be getting your black belt, but you're not going to. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're not ready mentally. He says, you're not a black belt. And that hurt because I was a martial artist.
Right.
But I thought, you know, jiu-jitsu, I beat this person, I do this, I do that, I push this person, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
But it's like a regular martial art too, you know, when you know, you think you're ready, you're really not, because it's the attitude, like you just go along, train hard, keep your mouth shut, do what the instructor says, and you get there.
Yeah, I do believe that. Yes, yeah. I feel like any type of pushback is definitely not what you should be doing anyways. You want to kind of go along with things, but asking questions is always a good thing. Yeah.
What do I need to do? What do you expect of me? What do you have? What am I doing? Am I doing anything wrong? But you know, sometimes you have that sense of entitlement. I think we all have it every now and then, right? The sense of entitlement, like, well, I deserve this. Well,
yeah, I've been there myself, yeah, but that was more back in my drinking days that I felt like I deserved things. Now I've become more humble and without alcohol being involved, and now I realize that I don't deserve anything, but if I work hard for it, I may get what I'm working for.
I'm a words fanatic. Okay. And when somebody says, congratulations, you deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't deserve it. I earned it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the process that I went through. The words is like, oh, I deserve it. Yeah, but I didn't earn it.
Right.
Does that make it? Deserve is something's given to you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You deserve it.
You deserve this. Like,
you know, you earned it.
Right.
And your actions earned it. So that was a kind of a big play on words that I agree with you 100%. You know, if we're earning it, then it's forever.
It's forever. Yeah, you earned it. You didn't just receive it. You know, I didn't just receive that plaque from my purple belt.
Yeah.
I earned it.
You earned it.
I worked hard for that. So.
Like days like today, you know, I was just talking to someone and like, you know, it's a holiday. I said, I know. I said, but excuses are a horrible thing. You know, excuses don't help you get your goals. You know, we had a great class and, you know, the people were working hard. And I'm like, these people on a holiday, it's a holiday, right? It's one of those weird holidays that, you know, it's getting colder out and it's a little dreary out. And you're like, you know what? Very easy. Can I just stay in, sip my coffee and kick my feet up and watch TV? But we had people, you know, a lot of people on the mats, you know, going. I'm like, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, to me, I don't know. I always have like Mondays off, and I've noticed a lot of these off holidays always land on a Monday. So I technically don't even notice half of them. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? It's Monday. I'm going to class. They're open. We'll go. And then I get there, and it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot it's a holiday. I'm not getting any mail today. But to go back on what you said about feeling a particular way when you were coming up, I think that's very important for a lot of people to hear, because I'm going through it every day. I'm in there. I'm like, some days I'm like, I don't know. Did they screw up when they gave me this? Because I don't know where I am right now. And like, so to hear that coming from you and a lot of the higher ranks, like Tommy and Baldo, and just have them kind of in a cloud sometimes, and watching them ask questions and work through it, you're like, okay, we're all on that playing field. And it's just amazing to me. It's nice to hear. I don't know if it's amazing, but it's nice to hear that everybody just goes through that struggle the entire time.
I think so. It's a part of learning. There's always better people. There's parts where you don't understand. It's like life. You can have the most successful person in the world, and they're struggling with something in life, and they go talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. We're far from perfect. We have good days, bad days. We have amazing days. We have okay days. And there's going to be days that like, oh my God, is this worth the grind? And, but then you think about it as a life aspect. You think, okay, jujitsu or martial arts is just like life. I get put in these positions. Sometimes I'm not comfortable. All right. Sometimes I'm getting ground down. I'm getting smashed, but then I have to figure out how to keep myself safe and work my way out of it. So, I mean, the biggest thing, like I tell people a lot of time in jiu-jitsu all the time, it's all right to be upset. It's all right to be frustrated, aggravated. It's even all right to cry, but just don't quit, because, quitting is obviously the end, and you'll never get there. So we all go through it. I remember one time, coming up, my instructor had to talk me, out of quitting the martial arts. I was a green belt in karate, and I was like, okay, I'm done, and things just weren't going my way. That's it. I'm all set, and I'm going to go and do my own thing. And, maybe I'll get back into, who knows, into lifting, cause I always like working out, but, he talked me back into it, and, I'm grateful that he did, because look at my life today because of it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yep.
You almost quit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yep. That is crazy to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've mentioned lifting a couple times. Were you powerlifting? Like you were competing?
Yeah.
You were a competitive powerlifter.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yep.
So, well, how? So I know that you said that you ripped your shoulder pulling a transmission out.
Yep.
And that's what kind of ended the power. How far did you make it in that career? How long were you doing that?
Well, it's really back then. Powerlifting is kind of one of those sports that you don't make money at. You don't. You do it for more of yourself and stuff like that. But I was pretty good. I was coming up. I was always head of my class. I always, I had actually a couple junior world records in the bench press and growing up, so it was, to me, it was fun. It's something I could do. And, and then I used to train with this guy, Ted Arcidi, who was the first guy to bench press over 700 pounds. And,
holy shit.
Yeah. And I got, training with him. So it was fun. You had this legend who bench pressed, was the world record holder in the bench press. And so you get to train with him. So it was fun,
That's more than 4 of me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
700 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm downstairs pushing up 95, and I'm like, woo, I got it up 5 times.
Man. Yeah, he was a freak, And he went on to wrestle in the WWF back then and stuff like that. So,
really?
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
Holy shit.
Yep. And that's the time actually we were doing a lot of stuff with Paul Levesque, who's in the WWE now. He's Triple H.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah, he was around, and we worked out with him a lot and trained with him a lot. Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So you know a lot of people from your powerlifting days all the way up until today. You've just met a whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a whole array of people out there, all different.
Interesting. I get some pretty good stories in me that don't always come out. So yeah.
So when you, so kind of going forward a little bit, how many PMAs to BJJ START schools are there?
Well, technically, so PMA was kind of my thing.
Right.
All right. I had 3 of them, and one we had Derry that I owned, Wyndham that I owned, and then Plastow that Rick and I are partners in.
Okay.
Him and I are partners in that one. Then the Wyndham location, the guy that was with me for years and years and years and years, and I have nothing but respect for him, Todd. You know Todd?
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd. And eventually, talking to him, and it's time for him to. It's hard when you're always on somebody's coattails, or and he ran the school for many years, was with me over 20 years. So,
oh wow, that's a long
teaching
time.
at the school. Yeah, so he bought that school, and he's off doing his own thing. He changed the name, which is great, and he's doing good things. So technically, we have 2 PMAs schools
now.
Then we have another student of mine, Chris Shelton, who opened. I let him use the name because he was a black belt under me. He's in Merrimack.
Okay. That's
Shelton.
The one in Merrimack.
Yep.
Okay, yes.
And so there, but then Start Schools, we have, it's more just a licensed jiu-jitsu program, and it was designed to, like jiu-jitsu became big, obviously, and but a lot of people were kind of like me. I don't want to say Ronins, but there was no place to go to train, no place to really. No curriculum, and people wanted to, do it and put it in their school. So that's where Rafael came up with Start, where they have a whole curriculum. They have we help them with teaching, we help them with the curriculum, we help them, with the video support. There's video support on lessons and techniques and stuff like that. And
wow.
So that we have. To be honest, I'm bad. I don't remember, but we have like 4 schools in Minnesota. We have the New Hampshire ones, Rhode Island, Florida. We have a couple of affiliations in Brazil and
really
in Australia too. Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep.
So really, so you have affiliations in Brazil?
Yeah, through Professor Rafael, who's Brazilian.
Right.
Yeah.
So wow, that is incredible. So when you go to Brazil, you like go to your schools and
it's not our per se ours,
right,
but
it's under your name.
So so we get to go train there and stuff, which is awesome. Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Where in Brazil is that?
In Rio.
Oh, it is in Rio.
Yep.
Oh
yep.
wow,
Yep.
I've never been.
And I give you names, but I'd butcher them and all.
No, that's fine.
All my Brazilian friends would get mad at me for So yeah.
How many times have you been over to Brazil?
Probably around 14.
14?
Like 14 times, yeah.
How's that?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. It's surreal, for 1, 2.
Is Rio the place with the giant statue
Christ
that looks
statue,
out?
yes.
The Christ statue? Is that the Christ statue? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so wild.
Yeah. Christ the Redeemer. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. That's in Rio. Then Rio, I think, from what I gather, is more the touristy, because you have. That's where like Copacabana is, and the Christ statue and Sugarloaf, which is a huge mountain that has a trolley that you get to and stuff like that. So Rio's more, I think, the touristy part of Brazil.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
And so when you open up the schools there, how many schools are in Brazil? Isn't it?
Yeah, a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where it came from in a sense.
But a lot of them are more clubs, and people don't travel as much in Brazil. I get, and I could be totally wrong. From what I've gathered, is they kind of stay in their own little realm a little bit, And a lot of like you'll have like one of the academies that Gordo has over there is in a big like apartment complex. And it's in like their health club almost, and they run a school there, and so that's how they do it and stuff like that. So a lot of them are more in a facility, like a club type facility, than like schools.
Oh wow!
Even though they are schools, it's not like a very very like a commercial school in its own building here and stuff. I haven't seen a lot in Brazil like that, which I could be wrong. I could be just in the wrong circles, but.
Right. But that is just incredible being out there. And so you visit a whole bunch, and you're pretty good at the Portuguese.
A little bit. Yeah.
You're definitely a lot better than I can do. I picked up on a little bit because
I
when I worked at Walmart, there was a guy and his wife who were also on the maintenance team, and they always talked in Portuguese, and they would always talk to me and try to get me to do it. And I was like, but it has that like Spanish sounding to it, but yeah, it's a whole bunch of mixture of everything. But that is so crazy.
Yeah, I did a lot of study in Brazil, Portuguese. I haven't in a little bit, but I just started looking to find another person. I want to do like a set program, like a schooling on it. If I can find a tutor, even if it's on Zoom or something like that, to put me through like official lessons in Portuguese. That's what I want to do.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that's just amazing. So when you're, man, I got so many questions. When you're running your school, right, and it's like maybe back in the day where it was maybe transitioning from the first name to the second name, did you ever have anybody come in? Like, I feel like the 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of people coming in off of the streets and challenging people in schools. Did you ever have an experience like that? Did anybody like come in and be like, oh, who's the black belt here? I could take them.
Yeah, not so much, but you have, it's funny, way back when I opened up schools, the other instructors of the school would be very intimidated.
Oh.
And so, they would come to your school and try to intimidate you or want to mess with you and stuff like that. So, per se, like people come in, once in a while, you have people come in and be like, I can beat you up and stuff like that. Great. Okay, good. To me, I really don't have to prove how tough I am, or right. I like to do it. I like to mix it up.
I was curious because I've seen there's this
too much Cobra Kai.
Not Cobra Kai. I've actually never watched an episode of that. It wasn't something me and my wife were interested in. I don't know. We kind of left it at the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, but no, it was just more of like those the McDojo stuff where you got a lot of people who have fake things, but there was a lot of videos at one point where somebody would come in, they would challenge somebody, and then the person at the school would, just show them what they were doing wrong.
It's funny you say McDojo because that's a term that, there are some people out there doing some funny things and, some business moral things. Okay. Yes, you get your belt, you pay me money, advanced program, you pay me this much money in a year, you get a black belt. Don't get me wrong, there is stuff out there like that.
Oh, okay.
That's a term. But a lot of people will say, oh, McDojo, because of jealousy and their school's not as successful as the other one. Coming up, like if you had a big school, you were a McDojo, you had to been selling out.
Oh, really?
Because people never did it. They never understood the business where, a big school was, 50 students was a big school where, the instructor could barely pay their bills and they could, barely stay open but then you have these schools that would come in and all of a sudden at 100 and 200, 100 and 300 and 400. Well, they must be selling out if they have that many students. People just started getting better with the business because the martial arts way back when a lot of it came to the United States from the military.
Okay.
People in the military, and they would bring the martial arts back and start teaching it.
Okay.
And they knew military. That's what they did. They trained. So it was like, hard, beat you up, and not everybody can do it. When I started, there was very little kids in the program.
Oh, really?
When I started way back when, I think there were 3 kids in the program.
Oh,
and the rest were adults because the kids kids can't do it. But then the Karate Kid came out, and people started adjusting. Like, well, wait a minute. If I take a kid for example, if I take a kid and he's a superstar athlete, super tough football player, and I make him a champion, well, good for you. You should have. But if you take the kid that has no confidence, all right, that can barely interact with in a social environment, and you make them a confident person, they're not a champion, but they go along and they go to college and they do big things. Well, who got more out of your program?
Yes.
A lot of times the people that need it aren't the champions, and that's what it was. Like Cobra Kai, I want a champion. I want this. Find the best fighter. Find this. Find that. But that's not the person who needs the martial arts the most. It's the other people. And once the Karate Kid started changing that perception, then people like we have a lot of people with autism, that are never going to go out there and be the best black belt ever, but they function in today's society. Well, who got more out of the program, and
Right.
that's what it is.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's such a good way to put it, too. The reason I brought that question up is because back then, Karate Kid was giant, and there was a lot of that stuff going on. But the McDojo that I was talking about is an actual Instagram handle where this guy goes around and finds fake dojos.
Yeah.
Just doing fake stuff, and he calls them out and he puts them up on it, and that's where that McDojo came from. So I didn't even know that was a sellout name for schools that were actually doing good.
I have it was the other day. It's funny. Brock Larson,
Okay.
who is a UFC, WEC one, MMA veteran, and somebody called his Jiu-Jitsu Academy, who has the toughest people in it, McDojo. And he called me all mad, and I said, congratulations. He's like, well, I said, you made it. You're successful. He's like, well,
that's awesome.
If that's all they have to say about your school, that you're a McDojo, you know what? Good for you.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think when we were doing Zooms during lockdown, Brock came on and did a seminar, and we learned the anaconda choke from there.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where I learned. I learned the anaconda choke in my living room.
When we were doing Zoom, right?
When we were doing Zooms.
Yeah.
It was a great class.
Yeah, yep.
A lot of those, the way that we all dealt with the whole lockdown thing, I felt like whatever got me to, whatever I was capable of doing was a good thing. So like, at that time I was absorbing every Zoom I could, because I was like, I can't believe we can't go in class. And now it's like, at least we're back to somewhat of a normalcy now.
Definitely changed, COVID changed the way everybody, the way the world is run.
Yes.
Really.
100%.
But, obviously I didn't like it. I didn't agree with it. I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe that you don't put healthy people away and don't let them, mingle and socialize. It's to help, the people at risk. But that's my personal belief.
Yes.
But, if you look, there was some, different things. COVID gave us an opportunity to look at the way we were doing things and adjust things and do things. So it was bad in the long run because it, hurt a lot of people and, but, there were some benefits out of it that we were able to adjust a little bit the way we did things and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of people got to spend more time with their family and realize that they didn't want to work as much.
That's the thing. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was so much of that, and now you're seeing it today because a lot of the people that were like, I'm stuck at home, what do I do? I started a podcast.
Yeah.
I know a lot of other people that started like OnlyFans and did this, and then like by the time the jobs were ready to come back, they were like, I don't need you anymore. I'm doing this out of my house, making just as much money as I was working for you. Granted, I didn't get that same benefit from doing my podcast, but and they're like, why aren't people coming back to work? Because you forced them to stay home, and now they're doing internet shit.
Right.
So you did it yourself. You did this to all of us by doing what you did by locking us all down and making us stay home.
Right.
So congratulations. Was this a result you were looking for?
Yeah.
No?
I would say one thing with especially in my industry, what we do, the fitness industry, I know for like long term, it's hard to be at home doing it at home.
Yes.
Especially something like martial arts where, you need somebody to practice with and do it in different energies and stuff like that. But a lot of these companies that, went remote, like I was talking to, we went to dinner the other night for somebody's birthday. And, we were talking, they have a big company. And I'll leave the name out of,
that's fine.
I don't want to, but I'm talking a huge international company.
Okay.
And we were talking and, they have where, they're mostly remote. The upper end has to go into the office like 3 days a week.
Okay.
They said, but, the person who, she's kind of the I don't know how you class that. She's a major shareholder.
Okay.
In the stock.
Yeah.
And we were talking. She's like, yeah, but a lot of these people now that are doing 100% remote stuff, what they did is they just opened up competition across the world.
Yeah.
She says, we're worldwide.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
So, she's like, we have call centers from India. Right. So what's to stop us from, okay, we're paying this. We have to pay health insurance, this and that and that and this to open a contract in India. So now these people that are home, it's a matter of time that, these companies start figuring like, okay, we have to pay you. For example, I know a lot of people move from Boston to Florida.
Uh-huh.
Right. And they're remote now, but they're on a Boston-based pay.
Right.
Living in Florida, which is a different, depends what part of Florida, right?
Right.
Yeah, and but then all of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, wait a minute, what's going to stop me from getting the 23-year-old kid out of Idaho to do your job for you that can do it just as good and half the price? So I think a lot of these people, hopefully it doesn't come to that, but I think a lot of these people realize that they opened up a lot more competition for themselves,
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I've been hearing a lot of stuff, like a lot of these companies that did the remote are now trying to force everybody back into the office. And I don't know if that's the best way to do things, but it seems like today you get more productivity done with people staying home, and now these corporations are trying this 4-day work week.
Yeah.
They want to see if you can do the exact same amount of work in 4 days instead of 5.
Yeah.
And see if, and I guess one of the companies, I don't remember the name, but they put it to a test, and they saw, if not the equal productivity, they saw more productivity because they were more focused and more willing to get their work done, because they're like, I get 3 days off.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of things that have changed with this, going through all the changes that we went through, from Zoom to using dummies to having everybody kind of
partner,
the same exact partner. That's right too. And then finally being open again.
Yeah.
And I've said this a bunch of times on here, is that the one thing that I'm still confused about is I just never caught it. And I don't understand. I've been around so many people that have had it, and like just being in school, me and Rick have talked about it. It's like, if we were going to get it, it would have happened. You know what I mean? I know he's gotten it at other points in time, but like, I was like, we're in school, we're sweating on each other. We're rolling and it just doesn't, I don't know. I started to become less fearful of all of this when all of a sudden no matter who I was around that had it, like my wife caught it, and I did not stay away from her. And I was like, this is my opportunity. And like, I felt like the virus doesn't like me. So I was like, I just don't understand.
But you might have had it with no symptoms.
And that's the other thing too. People do say that, and there's so many different things with this, and it's just a weird situation. But I think that the whole point of why I brought this up was just the way we went through it.
Yeah.
I think that it was a good way to go through it, and when we finally were like, okay, it's time to relax, we got to finally relax,
But we talked about earlier, where the points where, you wanted to quit, you wanted to give up. That was COVID was a great excuse.
Oh my God, was it ever?
I stopped doing that. Why? Well, COVID. Mm-hmm. Oh, I stopped going to the gym. Why? Oh, COVID. Oh, my business failed. Why? Because of COVID. And I'm not saying some didn't because of it.
But you think a
lot of them will use it because there's no, because of COVID, what can you say? You can't dispute it. You can't, say anything against it. I went out of business. Why? COVID. Okay. Now I can understand that, your company was shut down for whatever and you didn't save your money or something like that. You could, we were shutting down for 13 weeks. You
were 13 weeks?
13 weeks, yep. And thank God, we still had the recurring membership where, we had a bunch of people just, no, we can't do it. You're shut down.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of people that supported us, say, listen, as long as you're doing it, we're going to do it. We had some people that said, okay, I'm not doing Zoom, but I'm going to pay because I can, because I'm still working for you, so we were lucky that we had, and lucky that I was always taught the right way in business, where I always had, some emergency fund, I would say, a
little buffer there.
Yeah. And 13 weeks, I paid every employee 13 weeks.
That's amazing.
Which was kind of cool, Even if they got bonuses, I bonused them too the same way. But that excuse.
Yeah.
So for you to go through to work with the dummy, well, okay, work by yourself, or it's not the funnest thing. And that was a great opportunity to, to stop, because nobody would have questioned you.
No.
right? But then you got through it, and now you're doing it. So those are one things like when we talk about, oh, you have to persevere, you have to get through the tough times and go. That's exactly what we did through
And it's
COVID.
the same thing we did for the vape shop.
Yeah.
You know, we were closed for 9 weeks.
Yep.
Then we were serving out of a window.
Yeah.
And then we were putting up plastic and all this stupid shit that I tear down every day. And it's just like, but we did what we had to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle. It was difficult. And I understand I'm not dealing with food, and the restaurant industry really got demolished during all of this. But it was still a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And there was questions at time where like, are we going to be able to do this? If we do serve through a window, are we going to be able to help all these? You know what I mean? Like
I'd agree.
We're like, well, what do we do? Like, people are going to be asking me for this and that, and I got to run all over the store and bring it to a window. I'm like, but we did that for 4 weeks after the 9 weeks we were closed.
Right.
And we just used it as an opportunity to clean up shop.
Yeah.
You know, do some repairs, give it a fresh paint job, clean it up, do everything we needed to for when we did open the doors, people could come inside. So I agree with you that when you look at things and you prepare for stuff, and if you just go through the struggle of being closed and then reopening and doing all these things, dummies, windows, whatever you had to do,
sanitizing the mats after every class, and you know, or wipe everything down, or so you had to have your 30 minutes in between so you can clean the mats, and you can do this and you can do that, and they can dry and change this out and wipe doorknobs down.
I mean,
you know, I told people, I said, listen, you know, you're in the best industry because we're used to dealing with you know, viruses and stuff like that, you know, from, you know, like Staph and MRSA and ring, you know, so we're always cleaning anyways, so we're used to that.
Gotcha.
You know, of course. And then we'd have people come in that, you know, they would clean specifically for that. So once a month we'd have somebody come in and, you know, do the deep cleaning for it and stuff.
Like an actual company that comes in and does that. Oh, that's really
gives you your
cool.
certificate. So it was, you know, it was interesting. It was a time to, you know, it really, what I thought, you know, or the way I look at it, you really got to see if your business was for real.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
You know, so way back when, like in the 80s, there was a pretty big recession in the 80s, and I was always talking like, I'm not gonna buy into it. I'm not participating in the recession.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you know,
how do you not participate in a recession?
You just don't believe in it. You just keep on doing your own thing. You know,
all right.
And say, I'm not going to participate in it. And you know, we grew. That was like we grew to the biggest we ever were during it.
Oh, all right.
Because we didn't believe in it. You know, so but it proved that what we have to do, make sure that people are getting the good service, make sure that the people are you're treating them the right way, make sure you care about them, make sure that they know that you're there for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you talked about, it's like family, and and you know, we always talk about being there, and I've always told you how impressed with a lot of the little things that you do at the school that you don't maybe see yourself.
No, yeah, that's fair. I do not.
Yeah, and but so the same thing with COVID, we found out, okay, are we just a fad? Like, the cool thing, let's go here and hang out here, or is it something that's real? And we found out again that we were real, because we kept, we lost students and kept, but we're.
And that's kind of what happened with our vape shop too. Yeah. It was like we lost a lot of customers, but then as soon as the window opened, they were all like, "Oh, thank God, we've been going here and it's been horrible.
Yeah.
Thank you." And it was like, "Oh, no shit, like you were waiting for us," which felt really good. And then of course we opened the doors and they went through all the shit that we had to go through with that too. It's just it was and it's still going on today. For the most part, there's still some stuff going on out there that I still disagree with. But anyways, enough with COVID. This stuff is getting so fucking old to me. But
unfortunately, that's the past how many years, So
well, I mean, it has been the last 3 years of our lives, yes. But it's like at the same time, it's like, ugh. We still got so much to look forward to now. You know what I mean? Because I'm never going back again.
No, me either.
I'm not doing anything else that they've asked me to do. I stopped at 2, and I regret doing that.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, It's in the air, so if you're wearing a mask, good for you. But
Yeah.
I think you're just wasting your
Well,
time
you
and
can. If that's
torturing
what you
yourself.
believe, then do it. Then not. Then
Yeah,
do it.
I actually
always been that way.
sometimes I ask, like, I have some really good customers that come in my store, and I was like, can I just ask you, why are you wearing that? You weren't wearing it last week. And he goes, I was doing this for you. And I was like, oh, you people are still confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not doing that for me. You're
Yeah.
doing that for yourself.
Right.
We already have the science on that.
Yeah,
And he was like, really? And I go, you can take it off if you want. He was like, oh, thank God. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
It's not, that's the way they initially showed us. But
Right.
now, no.
Yeah.
So, slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com. That's slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com. You're not sure how to spell it? It's right here at the bottom of the screen. Or click the link in the description below the video. And before you check out now, put in TOPHER and get 10% off your purchase. I mean, what can I say? I love this website. I love their clothing, right? And now fall is here. That's right. It is October, and look at the brand new designs. We got a dagger and panther tee. We got a Frankenstein. We got the WTF crazy design, music loving gorilla. We've got new tiki. That's right. New hats, new kids. We got a new skateboard with the Bride of Frankenstein, the leggings, the space monkey. Look at all this new fall stuff. I love it. Their hats are amazing. The embroidering is tight. Every single color stays bright, wash after wash. These are high quality products at a great price. You can't beat it. And now you can save 10% off the purchase with promo code TOPHER. All right, so it doesn't get any better than this, but you gotta go to slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com in order to use the promo code and in order to get this amazing merchandise. They make great presents. They got sweatshirts and sweatpants for the fall so you can stay warm. They got a winter jacket for the snow that's going to be coming soon. I mean, they've just got everything. They're great products, and you can only get them here. So go to slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com today. Either click the link at the bottom of the screen or type it into your web browser by using the description that's located at the bottom of this ad right here. And then, of course, before you check out TOPHER to get 10% off your purchase today. New Hampshire Vape Gallery is located at 180 Lafayette Road, Seabrook, New Hampshire, down the street from Home Depot and next to Smoke Rings, where we are open 7 days a week from 10:30 to 8 p.m. And feel free to give us a call, 603-814-4171. Are you looking for an amazing vape shop? Are you looking for a good vape shop? Are you looking for a vape shop that can actually answer your questions and has what you're looking for in stock? Well, you haven't been to New Hampshire Vape Gallery yet. That's right, because we do. I've got all the flavors, menthols. I've got devices, coils, tanks, pods, all the newest devices coming out. The Vupoos, the Smocks, the ULs, you name it, we've got it in stock today, especially our Delta 8 selection, Delta 11s. We got CBD. I mean, there isn't something that I don't have unless it's on order because we ran out of it. I'm telling you, our disposable selection is giant. Whether you're looking for a rechargeable or a non-rechargeable, we've got it for you today. So you need to come on down. You need to come on in to New Hampshire Vape Gallery and talk to the guys at the gallery because we are here to answer your questions, which, I'm sorry, is a lost art in this vape world. No one knows what they're talking about. Nobody has any advice for you behind the counter. And half of the time, those people don't even vape themselves. So come to the shop that knows their product. New Hampshire Vape Gallery, located at 180 Lafayette Road, Seabrook, New Hampshire, down the street from Home Depot and next to Smoke Rings, where we're open 7 days a week from 10:30 to 8 p.m. And feel free to give us a call, 603-814-4171, And as always, I look forward to seeing you there. NaturalBossNH.com. That's NaturalBossNH.com. You need to go to this website because you're looking for organic products to keep moisture in your skin, to keep your skin from cracking, to keep your lips from cracking. Maybe you got a stressful day and you want to melt that stress away. Yeah, they got something for that too. It's called a foot and body soak. They've also got a beard oil, which makes, facial hair nice and smooth and it smells good. And then, of course, their body balm, lip balm, and salve are all great skin repair. It's just amazing. I mean, these products are great, and I just wouldn't buy one. I buy all 5. Yeah, go to naturalbossnh.com today and buy all 5 of these products, all right? You'll be doing a great thing. You're supporting small business and buying amazing products all at the same time, and nothing feels better than that. So go to naturalbossnh.com. That's NaturalBossNH.com. Go there today, buy one or all 5 of these products. What was it like seeing your son get his black belt?
Oh my goodness! Talking about emotions.
I was not there, but I heard that some people were very shocked that there was tears coming out of your eyes.
I was crying.
Yeah.
So I'm a very family oriented person.
Yeah.
Black belt is one of the things that to see that the work and the years, and for example, for Mason, right? Who's a great kid, started the martial arts when he was 2 years old with me, right? And, karate, and did the karate, got his black belt in karate, and did jiu-jitsu. I remember, 11, 12 years old, he was training with the fighters when I had the big fight team, and they were like beating the snot out of him. And, he was doing jiu-jitsu. We just had Zed up,
Oh, yes,
Professor Zed up. And I have pictures of Mason when he was either 4 or 5 years old training with Zed in jiu-jitsu.
So cool.
Right. And now Mason's 24.
Right.
So for Mason to get that and to go through, like he had his thing where he was really big in lacrosse, so he'd go, to lacrosse. Then he went away to prep school to play lacrosse. And then I would go up there on weekends and train with him and stuff like that. And, so just to see, the I guess the things that he went through, the overcoming, everybody's always in a rush.
Yes.
Right. But he kind of went the path where he went up around the mountain, down the mountain, back up the mountain, around to get to where he was going, but to see that was just, it was so emotional.
That's so awesome.
So emotional. I was so happy and
so
proud.
22 years he's been in martial arts.
Yep, 22 years.
And all of that in between school, high school, lacrosse, everything.
Prep school. When,
prep school. What's prep school?
Prep school is he went to Brewster Academy up in Wolfboro. So you live there in high school. So he was living there.
Oh.
Yeah, he was living it was like a boarding school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, no shit.
Yeah. So
I didn't even know that that was existed for like high school.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was up there and he did at Pinkerton Academy. He did 9th, 10th, 11th grade. And then he went to Brewster, but then for scholarship reasons for college, we reclassified him back to 11th grade. So they did 11th grade again and 12th grade. And so then he went to college. But yeah, so he was away for a couple of years.
So he went to Pinkerton, then went there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah. Why did he leave Pinkerton?
Because the prep school worked more, Pinkerton is a huge school.
It's giant.
Yeah. And, and they, there were a lot of kids. And my kids are kind of like me. They're not the best students. Not because because they don't apply themselves. Yeah. I never applied myself really in school.
Me neither.
Which I regret to this day.
But,
but not regret, but I would do it different,
Yes.
And he was like that. But the private school, the prep school was there was 9 kids in class. He was there all day. All day. So you wake up, go to class.
Change his focus.
And then I was there, then I'd call him at like 9:30. He's like, I'm in a tutoring program with my teacher. Can I call you after 9:30 at night? So he got his GPA up to be able to, qualify for scholarships and stuff like that. So, yep. So they were very personable on what he had to do to learn and stuff like that, which
that
was
is
awesome.
so wild.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I always thought a boarding school is just like, they got sent to that, or the prep schools or anything. I did not realize that you could leave a high school, go there.
Yeah.
And then what is reclassified?
So he was a junior. He completed his junior year, but he reclassified as a junior at the private school.
Huh.
Yep.
That's that is just blowing my mind.
Yep.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yep. And I don't know the logistics.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just, because it's a private school and it's money, then you can have him go through again, but it just worked towards his GPA. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so amazing.
Yep. A lot of the kids at that school go for a post grad. So they go, a lot of them, especially the basketball players there, they have a huge basketball team. And I don't know how many, but Mason's went to school with a lot of people playing in the NBA right now.
Oh.
And they have the #1 prep team in the nation, and a lot of them go for, after they graduate, they go another year to bring their GPA up, so they're going to get a scholarship to these, big colleges like Duke or something like that. Yep.
Wow. And now he is he helping up in Concord now?
Yeah, he's going to be the chief instructor in Concord. Yep.
Chief instructor.
Yeah. Eventually the professor, really, when he gets his professor stripes. Yep.
Okay. So, all right. I do have a question off of that though. I have like my wife's brother, he does jujitsu and stuff, but he calls the person that teaches him stuff coach.
Yeah.
And I've always known a lot of people as like professor.
Yeah. Now what rank is he?
I don't know what rank.
So the way we run it.
The way you, okay.
Yes, okay. So technically, after a year, you get your black belt after a year of teaching, then you get your professor stripes, which is the white stripes on the end of the red bar.
Okay.
That's when you become a professor.
Oh.
And so if you're not, you're not teaching, but if you're not, 1 year into it, or like Dan.
Dan, okay.
Dan's Coach Dan.
Oh.
Up until the 26th of this month, he'll get his professor stripes. Then he'll be Professor Dan.
Has it been a year already?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And then Mason, will be Coach Mason until
he gets his 2 stripes, and it's always a year after you get your belt.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the difference.
Yep.
Just like your BJJ Start is just BJJ, it's just jujitsu.
Yeah.
But PMA is Muay Thai.
Yeah,
and
there's the programs we run.
There's all the programs.
Yep.
Oh, that's so okay. I like the way that's breaking down for me. Okay, because I didn't understand any of that. So what led you to writing a book? Very curious about that. You mechanic, power lifter, jujitsu, karate, opening schools, all this stuff, and then you write a book as well. What was that process like for you?
Weird. It was weird. Yeah, it was different. The book I wrote was about bullying, and the book I wrote was more about some things to do, but more about how people do it, statistics and stuff like that too. But it was a different, interesting process. It was something. It was something that really. Oh, look, I did it.
Yeah.
And I thought about doing another one and stuff like that, and doing it a little more open on some of my, I don't say beliefs or thoughts, but, like the business stuff that I've learned through the years and stuff like that, But it was cool. It was cool in the long run. It's cool. And it's cool to see that you can go on Amazon and buy a book that, or you can say, Tim Barchard, published author or something like that, which is kind of cool.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of cool.
How long did it take you to write the book? Like what kind of process were you using for that?
A lot of research and stuff like that, but it was probably about 8 to 10 months was kind of just going through. I mean, it's not a huge book. It's not like, it's nothing. It's not like I wrote a 1,000-page novel or something like that.
I was just curious. I think it would take, even a book that size would take me forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think the biggest thing is once you get, it's like anything else, once you get on track, once you get in a rhythm, a groove, once you have a direction, then you can go.
So cool.
And the biggest thing was, you know, having people look at it and be like, "Oh, this is wrong. What are you talking about here? This doesn't make any sense." You know, because I'm not a good writer. I'm not good. You know.
Oh, so you would have to write it so that when people
have somebody can proofread it and stuff like that. You know.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I get hit in the head for a living, so you know, writing a book, you know, really wasn't. But
Now, is that only a paperback? Did you ever do an audio?
No.
Would you ever do an audio?
I don't know. Maybe have somebody else do it for me, but I'm not.
I'll read the audio for you if you want to set up an audio edition.
right,
I think I could be up for that challenge.
Yeah,
That'd
okay.
be fun.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
yeah.
Let's see. Where am I at here? Nope, that's the wrong page. Oh man, editing. So, well, I think I've gotten most of my questions answered. Did you have any stories of anybody that you've rolled with in the past or present tense that blew your mind? Like it was you weren't expecting it, or
yeah. Well, for one, I remember for this. Okay, this is a cool story. Professor Rafael, you know, you roll with your professors, and they sometimes handily beat you, right? And you're like,
Yes.
oh my God, I couldn't move. I was stuck. But then sometimes you don't realize that they're still playing with you.
yes.
Right? So I remember one time we had Gordo up, and Gordo is Professor Rafael's older brother who's a 2-time black belt world champion. He's very known for creating the offensive half guard. And I remember he was up. Right, he came up, could barely speak English when he came up, right? And so he came and spent I think it was five days with us. I picked him up from New York. He came to train with us, and I was bringing him back. And so I remember he was training over knee surgery, and you're gonna find a lot of good of the professors will let you submit them. And the reason why is they want to make sure that you have the submission right. Right. I remember one time with Daniel Gracie, I was rolling with him. I caught him. I'm like, why'd you let me? He said, I just want to make sure you can do it right. And he said, you had it. So, and I'm like, you know, he's like, yeah, but if I didn't want you to do it, you would never do it. But then you'll never get it down, which I thought was very profound, right? So I was training with, and I knew this is what happened. I put a choke, and I knew there wasn't a lot of resistance on him, and I got him, you know? And so I'm like, oh, cool. But I didn't think anything of it. So the following weekend, we brought him back to New York, and we had a private lesson with Professor Rafael.
Okay.
And this is Professor Rafael was still, not that he's bad, you know, but like a freak, right?
Yeah.
I watched him beat up a lot of amazing people. And so he's like, oh, you know, Tim, let's warm up. I said, okay. And there were 2 other people with me. And then he's like, you know, oh, you guys go do class. I'm like, we have a private. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. And then like tap, warm up, in like 3 seconds he submitted me. And okay, tap, like 5 seconds submitted me. Like tap, and he literally, it was an hour and 45-minute private, and I tell you, I don't even know how many times he tapped me. If I went 10 seconds without being tapped, it was good.
Oh, wow.
And I was a blue belt then, right?
Yeah.
And after like the 5th time, I understood what he was doing.
Oh.
He wanted to make sure that just because like, oh, his brother let me tap him, that I wasn't going to get ahead of myself and think I'm better than I was. And he just destroyed me. And I was so sore. I mean, I probably, like I said, I don't even know how many times I tapped.
Oh, wow.
And he just beat the snot out of me.
Yeah. He was like, don't forget.
Don't forget.
Don't forget.
Yeah, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. After a little, I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, well, I do have to say, like, rolling with you and Rick and all the higher ranks, like, when you allow us to go somewhere, I always get more afraid than when I can't go somewhere, because I'm like, oh, no, he's letting me until he doesn't. And I'm like, when is he going to stop letting me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you kind of go through those motions, but yeah, that's really cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was
we
cool.
all come from the same place. We all start and work our way up, and it's just amazing to hear that message, because I think it's very important, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely, and we've all been there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they say Roger Gracie's so tough because it was his defense, because when he was younger, he was tapped out by everybody would tap him really hard, and his defense got really good, and then, you know, he kind of reversed it to his offense, and you know, so everybody's been there.
Yeah, but you don't see, when when we look at you, we don't see that.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right,
we're
you
just,
see the above, right? You don't see the
I see now.
You don't see the times where, you struggled, and times where, I mean, I remember the first time I was as a blue belt in Brazil, when I went to Brazil, the first time I went to Brazil and I competed and I won in Brazil, and but then everybody's like, oh, you won, yeah, and they just proceeded to beat the snot out of me. I had so I was very lucky that we grew up with professors who, didn't take things the wrong way. Like if it was frowned upon, I never knew this. So the first time I went to Brazil, we were Gracie Barra and Rio and stuff, and Professor Rafael was like, okay, guys, go. And, when we go back, he'd always take some days where, he grew up there, so he'd go see friends and stuff like that, or go to dinner with his mom and stuff like that. But he'd always set up training for us, right? So at Gracie Barra, which had probably 40 black belts, lined up, and it was, crazy. And so I was used to asking black belts to train. Oh. And they were like, yeah, sure, but that was a no-no. So I was the American blue belt over challenging these Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. Well, let me tell you, the way it was run is there was so many black belts, not everybody could train at the same time. So all the underbelts would line up, right? And the black belts would pull them in.
Oh, okay.
One at a time and train with them, right? But not me. I got passed from black belt to black belt. So I got beat up so bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
really
got smashed. Yeah. But I didn't know, Rafael's like, no, you shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, I didn't know. I'm used to you,
Right.
But then he chuckles, then he's like, oh, that's funny.
Oh, wow. So you were calling them to roll with
I
you,
don't know. Okay,
but you're supposed to be standing up against
we're
the wall
gonna train.
waiting.
Yeah, but I didn't speak Portuguese. I didn't know. And so
you're just like, hey.
as polite as I can. I'm like, can we train, please? And instantly that was like a challenge to him.
Oh, wow.
So they all went through and beat me.
So as soon as you did that, they were like, I'm going to tap the crap out of you.
Yeah, they just, smash you, grind you,
oh my
God. Ride you. Yeah.
I'm so glad that's not our rule.
It wasn't the, they tapped me out, but they prolonged it.
Wow.
Yeah.
They took their time with
They
it.
took their time. When you're going, there.
Put you in the pressure cooker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy. I did not. Is that still a Brazilian way of doing things? Because I know I've asked a few black belts to do
but here, around our academy and stuff like that, and the people come. No, you're expected to almost ask them to train. You know what I mean?
I've always been under that impression. I actually feel like I feel a lot better when I call a higher rank out. And like you said before, if I made it more than 10 seconds, I was doing good. But sometimes that's how I judge mine too.
That's always a good thing,
Yeah.
And my professors were always like that. Rafael was like that. I spent a lot of time with Daniel Gracie. He was like that.
Oh, okay. So it was more of a Brazil thing.
But it was but they knew me. They, there. So we're, the student, so it was kind of, we had the relationship. So I was thinking like, oh, okay, these guys, like me, I'm going to go to this guy who don't know me.
And you found out differently. Yeah. Oh, wow. How many times have you competed in jiu-jitsu?
Once.
Just once. Yeah. One jiu-jitsu competition?
Yeah.
And that was in Brazil?
In Brazil, yeah.
Oh, what was that?
So that was back then, it was the International Master and Seniors. It was the World Championships for the old people back then, and the highest one. And so we were going to it, and Rafael was like, oh, we're going to go, the first time we're going to Brazil, he was like, we're going to go watch a tournament. I'm like, oh. I said, can I compete? He's like, well, do you want to? I said, I'll try, sure, why not? And he's like, well, it's closed. Let me see if I can get you in. Oh. And so we went to the headquarters, and he got me in, and so I won it.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, I just, I just kind of, enjoy the process now. I don't mind, like, I think my competitive fire hasn't gone away. Like, but I just don't want to, like, when I start to train for something, like when I did karate, I did like hundreds of karate competitions, right? Point, full con, all that stuff. But I would get to the point where I'd hate training.
Oh.
I don't want to train.
Okay.
I don't want to do it.
There's a lot of training before
like I don't want to. I want to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I want to take it easy today. I want to go hard today. And I didn't, got to the point where, I have to be there all day long at the school all day long, So if I'm hating training, I'm hating being there, then it's not conducive to the school,
Oh,
So I made the
okay.
conscious choice, like, okay, I'm just enjoy training and then, not compete. However, every time I go to a competition, I'm like, oh, I should have competed. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
So I'm in that catch thing,
Oh, okay.
And then realistically, like right now, as I'm getting up there, I'm like, is it going to make a difference? What for? Is it,
Yeah.
If I need it to train, like, you know what I mean? I train and I like to train and I'm active and I still, if I need it to like, okay, I have to push myself to train, then I would. But I'd train too much and I'd hate it. And then it would be, I think,
Gotcha.
detrimental to what I'm trying to accomplish at the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that.
Yep.
I see that. Yeah. I was just curious, everybody that I know that's in jiu-jitsu, like almost all of them compete.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Like, I had Sam on here
Yeah,
and Deborah's been wanting to get into competing and, her brother and a whole bunch of other people. And I'm just like, wow. And I'm just like, am I missing something? And I'm just like, I don't know if I should be competing, but at the same time, I'm like, I really don't know if I should be competing.
So that's the thing, if you, like you said, you had Sam here, Sam's, an amazing competitor.
Yeah.
And that she has a fire for it. And I think that she, kind of lives for that. You know what I mean? Not lives for it, but that's like, oh, this is awesome. This makes me feel alive. And it's something I do for myself. Then by all means, do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I can, get somebody on the mats and they lost weight and they feel good and to me, that's living.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in a little different position, I think, but not saying, listen, if I was, 30 years younger,
yeah,
or 20 years younger, I'm going to be 53 this month. So
53?
53. So,
wow.
And I'm not saying I'm old because I still train.
Yeah.
But is it a necessity for me?
That is fair. Probably not.
And plus, I still like, I work a lot and I still like to be home on the weekends and stuff like that, or, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I go back and forth all the time with it. Like I want to, I don't want to. Okay, I'm gonna. No, I'm not. And, it's just, but if I'm wishy-washy, I have to be under the assumption that I can go compete and just train what I have, do what I do, and go train. Go compete and be happy with the results for the energy I put into it. But I'm not like that. I'm a super addictive type person to where it'll engross me, and that'll so classes would become about me.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Okay, I need to do this, so this is what we're gonna do.
This is what we're gonna do.
Right. You know what I mean? And it just
running a school, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
It's got to be for the students.
Yeah,
It's got to be for the school.
Yeah, and that's of course just my take on it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that run schools that are awesome competitors and stuff like that, and their schools have flourished around like the competition environment, which is totally great.
Yeah.
I think competitions are great, and I think you want to do them great. You don't want to do them great.
No, I think I'm waiting for that inner school one to come back.
Yeah.
If it ever comes
it will.
back.
Yeah, it definitely will. We talked
It
about that.
definitely will. Yeah.
Now that things are settling down.
Yeah,
and stuff like that,
exactly.
And schools are like, because we had some events at schools and you had to go in and people had to stay away from each other still.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. How are we going to do this?
Right.
Let's grapple 6 feet apart.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it.
There's some videos out there of people doing it, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, there are. When did you bring MMA into the school? Because I don't know if as many people know about the MMA program as they know about the jiu-jitsu program.
Yeah. So the MMA pro, we had so way back when, probably in the 2010, 9, 8, and that we had a huge MMA program. We had a lot of fighters where we had like Matt Smith and John Benoit and Justin Holmesy and Chris Graham-Mason and Woody Weatherby. And, we had a lot of really, I think only like 1 or 2 people weren't like champions at a certain time.
Wow.
Amazing. But then, MMA, to me, MMA is fun. Training MMA is fun. Training people to fight MMA is fun. But the process of teaching people to where I have a problem where I want people to be more successful than they are, or be successful more than they do.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
I get really engrossed. And this was something that I had time with Mason, with lacrosse. I'm like, you have to do this, you guys get this, and that. He's like, calm down. I said, yeah, but because I wanted him, he's like, this is my goal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. And he's like, whoa, calm down. The same thing, like I have a consultant business too that we consult other martial arts schools, and I want them to be successful more than they do.
Yeah.
Like wait a minute, what do you mean you're not at your school? You need to do this, this, and this, and this, So that's my problem. I have a hard time. I want people to be more successful more than they do.
Yeah.
So the MMA fighters are they train to fight, they fight, and then they take time off, and you get frustrated and aggravated because, this is the time you're supposed to be getting better, not just training for a fight to get in shape. And so butt heads. So I've kind of, but I had a long time into it, and I just want to, like I said with the competition, have fun on the mats.
Yeah.
And if it turns into like a headache or something like that, I just don't want it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So not as many people join like
now if you come to me and say, "Oh, I want to train MMA, I want to fight," I won't take you.
Oh, really?
I'll if you want to train,
yeah,
train jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and you want to fight down the road, then I'll train you.
Oh, okay. So there's not like an MMA class.
Now, there kind of is, but not. Now we spar, we do drills and stuff like that. When somebody's getting for fight, we'll put some extra training in. But yeah, we're not just signing people up specifically for MMA now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is just too hard. It's just
it's a lot.
A weird dynamic, and there's no longevity into it. There's no it's like I said, it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
And obviously it's fun when things are going good.
Yeah, of course.
But when things are going bad, things get tough, and it's just.
That's what everybody says. I mean, you listen to the fighter interviews and what they're doing and their camps and everything else. Yeah. It's a ton of involvement, and it's a 150% commitment.
Yeah. Well, even now, like, Rick's coming back fighting.
Yes, I know.
Right? Which people are like, oh, he's crazy or stuff like that. But I liken it to Rocky. I have something in the furnace still. Rick. I firmly believe Rick's been a competitor his whole life.
Right.
And he needs that challenge, right? I'm totally fine with it. But now Friday nights, was a night where, I work Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Now I'd go home, work from like 9 to 3 on Sunday and go home. But now I'm, at 6 o'clock, you know what I'm doing?
You're training Rick?
Teaching, an MMA class, so I'm not there 7:38 and so it's just time consuming.
Yeah. He's very excited.
I'm not knocking it. And obviously I would do it for him and other people, but I'm just careful now what I'm doing with my time.
Yeah. And you have to. You have to these days because it's very important. Time is the one thing that we never will get back.
Yeah.
So if you're using it and it ain't being used wisely, then you don't get that back. There's no return on that shit.
And then I live in, we moved, so I live an hour away from the school now.
Right.
So now if I leave, and I have to, leave there at 10 o'clock at night because you trained to this, that, you're 11, then you have to be there for, class at, 9, so you got to be there at 8 o'clock. You get up at 6:30. It's a quick turnaround. You're like, oh, what am I,
What are you doing? You're losing all your time and but you're helping Rick out. And that's October 21st, I believe, right? Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make that, but I was trying to. But he's super pumped for it. And there's a couple more kids. I call them kids. They're all, under 25. So I still call them kids. But there's a couple more people that are going to be fighting. And I just saw that, Jeff's
going to fight in November.
In November. Yep. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of things under, the PMA name. And I love our school. Like I said, you are like a family to me. But real quick before we get going.
Yeah.
You got a new pizza oven. You're enjoying this. You're having some fun with it. I'm seeing some posts of some homemade pizza. What's going on here? You're just loving this lake life, and now you're just cooking pizzas outside.
Yeah. So I wanted a pizza oven forever and a day.
Oh, okay.
I'm a pizza fanatic. I love pizza, right?
Yeah.
And so I always wanted I want a pizza oven. And I know some pizzas have them, and people that have them, and I'm like, oh, I want one. Well, I'm the type of person that I won't just go out and buy it, but Laura, who's amazing, she's like, oh, I'm going to look into it. So she looked into it. Mark Delagrati, who is my Muay Thai instructor, he has a very Italian family.
Okay.
And his cousin imports them from Italy, pizza ovens.
Oh,
yeah.
No shit.
So she talked to him and they kind of set it up. So I wound up with this pizza oven, it's amazing. And, yeah. And, so the pizza, it's just so much fun. So much fun. Not only is it, I mean, delicious.
Yeah.
Right. You get this oven, you have the stones, it cooks at 900 degrees. It's, very easy. Which we cooked wings in there the other day, which was amazing.
Yeah. So, because you were a little skeptical about that, because you're like, it goes up to 900 degrees. How are we supposed to cook wings in it?
Yeah. No, you just keep an eye on them.
Just keep an eye on it.
It was pretty cool. Yep. And, but what's fun is everybody making their pizzas is a lot of fun. Like they'll get the dough and roll out the dough, and they all try to spin it, and you get covered with flour, so we're outside, and you put your toppings on it, and it's pretty cool.
So you're making the dough from scratch?
We're not making we get the dough balls.
The dough balls?
Yeah. But I make the pizza sauce now myself.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
So you're stepping it up a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. So then, but then, how they spin pizzas and stuff like that. Yeah.
There's like an art to it.
Right.
It's
Not
like
mine's a rolling pin on
and
it.
It's
right?
not, it's not like it's like a pull flip.
Yeah. They stretch it out, right?
Yeah. It's very interesting to watch them do it.
Yeah. And, but everybody's trying to do their pizza, and it's fun. So if you have, I live on the lake.
Yeah.
Right. So we would have a lot of barbecues, and barbecues are pretty expensive.
Yep.
But now, let's make some pizzas, and everybody's having fun. And, I'm not just slaving over a grill cooking food.
Right.
You put the pizza in and you just
wait.
Yeah.
And it's a lot healthier, because even though you're buying like the pre-made dough, like that's still better than you would get.
You can do whole wheat. You can do multigrain. You can do.
They have all kinds now.
Now they have the celery. Cauliflower.
Yeah, the cauliflower. That's
crust.
More of what I get into.
Yeah. But which is pretty cool. Yeah. And then the sauce is now it's what you put in it.
Right.
And the topping. So it's pretty.
So you can actually make a reasonably healthy pizza to eat instead of going to Domino's
Yeah.
I always throw them out there because they're one of the worst, I think.
Yeah. But so it's we're having a lot of fun. So Saturday's becoming pizza day for us.
That's cool.
And even people who they're into it. They're like, oh, this was so much fun. When can we do it again? And it's pretty cool because my neighbor loves pizza. And we have really good neighbors where we live, amazing neighbors. And, unfortunately, she's pretty sick. She's older and she's pretty sick, but she loves pizza. And so every time we do it, we bring in her pizza. And she just so absolutely cool. That was the best pizza ever. Thank you. How'd you get it so perfect? So it's kind of cool that we kind of, share our enjoyment. So we're having a lot of fun just making people pizza,
That's so awesome. I saw the post, and you talk about it all the time in class. I had to bring it up.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I love it.
A lot of fun.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
this was absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it. And no, it's just awesome. It's awesome to
Sorry it took so long.
No, that has been the one thing that I'm starting to learn, and I've learned from doing this all year now, because you're like my 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
And it's just tough.
Yeah.
And so as long as I set up enough and I just keep pegging, it's been working out a lot better. I was doing it like month to month.
Yeah.
Now I'm setting up 2 or 3 people in a month.
Yeah.
So that way, because I realized that like you can set a date and then life happens.
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit of a learning curve, but this entire process for myself has been a giant learning curve. So I'm willing to work out those kinks and wait.
Yeah,
I said, when I came up to you in class, I'm like, I don't want to be a bug here.
No.
Like, I'm not trying to bug you, but it's like, I just, we want to get closer to locking it down and actually making sure it's going to work out.
Today worked a lot better because I'm down here anyways.
Yeah.
I can adjust my schedule around it. So,
well, as soon as you're like, oh, where do you live? And I'm like, I'm 15 minutes away from school. And you're like, oh, that's different. Don't pack up your stuff. I'll come to you. I was like, oh, awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. But again, thank you so
My
much for
pleasure.
coming
Thank
on
you.
the podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to end this thing right here. I hope everybody out there enjoys their Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Remember, be kind to one another. And as always, I will talk to you later.
Stack those victories.
Yeah, all right.